Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Jonathan Voico.
Good morning.
Chris Carr is here.
Hello, everybody.
And she brought gifts today.
I did. I brought booze for everyone.
Woo!
I need. Yay!
She made it herself.
It's gonna get rowdy, maybe.
Like an old-time prospector churning out the whiskey.
Yeah.
But she made it herself. I'm so excited. We're going to try a little bit later. I don't normally drink alcohol, so I'll probably be making a lot of faces. I'm trying to pretend like I can keep up with these guys. Anyway, guys, how you doing? Most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show a part of your day. Here's how our show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics that we got lined up for you guys, including a certain Daredevil trailer. And then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments, questions, and topics. If you have a topic or a question you'd like us to address, as long as we in the room deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And the good news is, this tip link actually is good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, not just when we're live. So if you happen to be listening to our show a little bit later in the day on podcast, either on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or maybe you're watching this video a little bit later in the day, you can still send in a question or topic. And if you send it in when we're not live, we'll just answer it on the next episode. All right, guys. With that all down, let's get this thing started here, shall we? We're going to start off with this. I know Ray's excited about this. Severance returns Friday, tomorrow at midnight, depending on how you decide to look at it. But Severance is coming back after 3 years or something like that. Man, I got a whole rant I could go on about how long we have to wait now in between seasons. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so they're trying to get the word out there that Severance is returning. It's coming back. And more, whether it's like House of the Dragon, remember they were decorating buildings, choose a side, and doing all these viral. These shows are trying more and more kind of viral stunts to get people's attention. And they decided to do the same thing with Severance. As Deadline points out, the Severance cast bring Lumen Industries to a glass box at Grand Central Station in New York, where literally the cast of the show, they set up a replica of their office in a glass box in the middle of the train station. Actually, we'll take a look at, I like this one here. Adam Scott is literally doing the little vacuum thing around the office. They had another one, another little video from somebody else's perspective. That's a good picture of them in the office working.
Wow, they had all of them there, huh?
And then, this is them going, and they even had the boss. Arquette was there.
Nice.
Everything. This is the office workers showing up. And this thing's kind of exploding. It's going all over the place. First of all, I think this was a great idea. And when I first heard about it, my first thought was, that's a cool idea. And some train stations, they're going to get people to dress up like the cast and pretend like they're working in the Severance. Then they told me, no, you don't understand. It's actually Adam Scott and the cast of Severance actually did this. So, number one, I think that's a pretty cool stunt in and of itself. Number two, I think it's amazing the cast agreed to go and do this. Yeah. So I'm sure this wasn't in their contract.
Yeah.
So they agreed to go and do this. And Ben Stiller himself, who's the creator of the show, a lot of people forget Zoolander is the creator of this show. But he was there himself filming it, and you can hear him talking to fans. Like this woman comes up to me and hear, oh my God, Zoolander was the first movie I thought was so funny. It's like, really? That was the first movie one? You thought was so funny. Okay. But so that was kind of cute. But I think this is a great stunt. But it also kind of points to the fact that there is so much streaming content now. And there's a high degree of it. I mean, there's a lot of crap too, but there's a high degree of it that's really good. That in the midst of everything else going on in the world and the competition you have in the entertainment field, it's kind of becoming more and more important for shows like House of the Dragon, Severance, to become unorthodox in their marketing approaches, to try to bring attention. It's like, hey, everybody, don't forget, our show comes back tomorrow. But I thought this, I've seen some marketing stunts that are pretty cheesy and lame. I thought this was a pretty fun one to do and pretty innocuous, pretty harmless too. Anyway, Chris, you saw this. What do you think about it? And Are you looking forward to the return of Severance?
I'm so excited. We haven't watched that clip they released early because we want to just
I
go
haven't
into
either.
it.
I didn't
Okay.
watch that 8-minute clip.
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah,
watched it
me
Nope,
either.
I don't want it. I just want to watch it as a whole thing. Otherwise, that 8 minutes, I'm going to be like, no, where's more? I'm really excited about this. I think this is such a fun stunt. I do wonder how much the insurance costs to have all these actors in Grand Central Station. It's very concerning for me. But I love that more shows are doing stuff like this. Severance also recently just launched a podcast with Ben Stiller and Adam Scott hosting the Severance podcast to talk more about the show
nice.
as well. So that's another thing we're seeing with all of these different shows too, of having the actual content creators making podcasts and talking more about the kind of behind the scenes work. And I think that's really necessary, to your point too, with there's so many shows right now. There's so many streaming services, and it's really kind of white noise when you're advertising a show coming out. So you do have to do something that is borderline gimmicky to get people to pay attention. And this is something that rings true to the cast, though. Having them in this kind of fishbowl scenario of all of us watching them, with them doing the most mundane tasks that no one really knows why they're doing them. I think this just fit the bill really well. I want them to do more stuff.
Yeah, Paramount, I think, was the first studio that got my attention with their Smile campaign, right? Like
Oh,
the
that was an
marketing.
effective one too.
I mean,
That was so scary.
that was really good.
I wouldn't think the creators or the studios would do something like this if they weren't proud of the product that they're about to show. Like with House of the Dragon, they had all that marketing, but what if the show ended up being crap? That season ended up being crap, which it wasn't. So I believe that this is their confidence in this show, and I hope it turns out as well as the House of the Dragon.
Well, I know I was
season 2.
surprised. You know, this is one of those shows where I was really, sometimes friends surprise you when they don't like something that you really thought they would like. This is one where Ray surprised me because I didn't think this show was up Ray's alley, but Ray came
Yeah.
into the studio one day. It's like, have you guys seen this show, Severance?
He started flipping tables. He broke my monitor.
It's like
Like, bro, I
chaos.
like it. I like
He
it.
tried to get all of us to wear blue, which
Yeah,
was
it was
weird.
really
It's really
I don't
weird.
usually like to think, but this show is
He brought in
is-
pizza.
Is good thinking right here.
You do like to think.
I
Ray.
mean,
you
I
sell
mean,
yourself
I don't-
short, man.
I don't like to think sometimes during shows. I just like it's. I'm more of a fun
You want
watcher.
to switch off and
I'm
just
a fun
enjoy
you
it.
like
watcher.
more
Yeah,
escapist
but
fun
this
You
stuff.
want to watch
like-
Sonic?
This is so out of my realm, but I love it. I love Adam Scott. I love everybody that's a part of the show.
All right.
I do wonder though, just real quick, because my one prediction this season is last season they escaped like
Briefly.
briefly into but they were severed.
They're outies.
I think this season they're gonna go out into the world. They'll escape, but they're not severed yet, so they won't have any memory of their life out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. But also, you know what they barely touched on last season, but clearly is the huge elephant in the room. So what's this religious fanatical group that created this company? Like they barely just touched on the surface of it. And clearly that's going to be a major thing here.
And his
'Cause,
wife.
and
his wife.
his wife is the main thing, but like, I almost feel like they're distracting us with things like his wife, the announcement at the big conference, I'm actually the innie and they torture us. Because underneath all that, what data are they crunching?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, even they don't know what is our work doing? What's the deal behind this religious cult that runs this company? I think that's going to become really heightened stuff towards the end of the season, but we'll see.
We'll figure it out.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think of that little stunt they just pulled? I thought it was great to promote the upcoming season 2 debut of Severance. And do you watch Severance? If so, do you like it? Maybe it's a little too heady for you. Maybe it just didn't work for you. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's go on and talk about this, shall we? Yesterday was both a great and a horrible day for the same reason. It was the finale of Skeleton Crew. So as excited as I was to see the final installment of the season, I was also very sad knowing that next Tuesday, I got nothing to watch. I'm sure I'll find something. Maybe I'll finally get started on Lioness or something like that.
There you go.
Got to get going on that too. Anyway, so the finale came out. We're going to talk about the finale in spoilery detail. So if you have not seen the show yet, or if you care about finding out what happens, you might want to put on mute. Actually, let's bring it. Yeah, there it is. There's that little spoilers warning. So once that spoilers warning comes down, you can unmute. Okay, just as a warning for all of you. All right. Here's my sentiment and my feeling on the episode. Okay, I'll give my overall impressions of the season as a whole in a minute. We'll talk about the episode here first. The episode I thought was fantastic. As a whole, the episode was fantastic. The adventure of it, the way they each split off and had their individual missions to accomplish, all that kind of stuff. I thought it was great. I loved this. The dad riding with them on the speeder bikes, like all that kind. I loved all of that. I thought it was great. It was a wonderful episode. I don't know if I would call it a wonderful season finale, though. I thought it was a wonderful episode. I just don't know if I'd call it a great season finale. Because, it felt more like, oh my gosh, what a great place to cut it off until next week. Because, what happens to At-Adden? The barrier's down now. Like, okay, what happens now? Or Jod, this is just, hey, Jod, okay, see ya. And he's still there. This Force-sensitive Pirate King dude who's very dangerous, but also still has a bit of a conscience, I guess, is still out there. I mean, we don't even, I'm not saying they had to capture him or kill him or anything like that, but even when we got to saw him, I had planned this when we were on that other planet that was a clone of At-Adden. I saw the secret escape tunnel and I got through it, and you see him like Vader at the end of the original Star Wars. The Death Star blows up, but there's his TIE fighter still spinning out of control and he gets away. Like something like that. So overall, again, loved the show. Loved the episode. I thought it was a great episode. Just, Ray was watching the episode this morning. Mm-hmm. And when it got to the end, he said out loud what I thought a lot of us thought. That's it? I could hear he audibly yelled out, that's it? And it's like, yeah, so I kind of felt that way. Anyway, now, as a whole, what a win.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And because, man, I'm telling you, Lucasfilm, especially on Disney Plus, have not been batting so well between Obi-Wan and Ahsoka and the Acolyte. And they had a couple big wins. Andor, first couple of seasons of Mandalorian. Book of Boba Fett.
The best one.
If you ask any Vespa owner, they would say yes. But they needed this, especially coming off the train wreck that was the Acolyte. They really needed this. And it brought me so much joy watching it. I thought the final episode, again, aside from the ending, kind of encapsulated what I loved about the show overall. It was just filled of adventure and wonder. And I really had a great time with it. And I love the fact that we now live in a Star Wars world where we can have Andor and something like Skeleton Crew.
Absolutely.
I love that they're giving us that kind of diversity. So overall, big win. Loved it. Not completely satisfied with the ending, but overall, I absolutely loved it. Chris, what did you think about the final episode?
Oh, I had so much fun. I had such a fun time. Like you guys, it was though, but you have still so many things to answer for me.
Right.
But I kind of like that because I want a season 2.
There's definitely a season 2 because Neil's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
as long as Neil's still there.
Wow.
How dare you?
So there's some unfinished.
I bring you gifts today, Voitko, and you break my heart.
I've been
still.
drinking it. That's the problem. There's
You
some
just get
unfinished
mean on
business with Neil.
limoncello. Damn.
What if when he gets the call, Neil's in the bathtub, he goes, I'll be right there, and he jumps out of the bathtub, slips, and breaks his neck.
That'd be terrible.
Oh my God, that would have been ballsy.
One of the droids just drops a toaster in his tub. No.
The droid accidentally powers off while standing over the bathtub and
Yeah.
crushes Neil.
That'd be terrible.
Oh,
Not
guys are great.
baby Neil.
This is
Neil
why
the
we
baby.
need a season 2.
Neil the
So.
baby's gonna be fine. But we have a lot more to learn about At-Adden and also how they survive after all of this, right? We just talked about Severance. We have a similar situation here too of what happens when your entire ideology is completely decimated.
Right.
What happens when the world you know is completely eradicated and you have a whole new thought process? The supervisor is donezo for right now.
Oh, by the way, I called the supervisor
you did.
yesterday.
yep. What you said was going to be a droid,
No,
right?
Oh, he said
I
it was
said
gonna
he
be
was
AI.
he was going
Right.
to be like a system,
right.
like a system
Yeah,
setup.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
it
so,
ended up being,
well
and he
done.
even called him a droid, but you're right.
Yeah.
It was just a big
Well
droid.
done. Was it Stephen Fry doing the voice too?
Oh, I don't
I
know.
need to double check, but it sounded like Stephen Fry.
I'll look it up.
It was really great and really, really well done. And one of the other things I would really like to see for them to do is kind of like how anime does OVAs or how there's downloadable content for video games.
Oh, it was Stephen Fry.
Good. Okay. I'd love just a one-off that gives us that Jar Jar would backstory of the Order 66.
Well, now correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
Did Jod's backstory not ring very similar to the Jedi in the video game?
Oh,
Fallen Order?
Fallen Order.
Fallen
yeah.
Order, yeah.
What's the name of the character again? Kel
Kel
Kessler?
Yeah.
Kesselis or something like that. Yeah, it was actually very similar to that. And I thought for a second, this seems a lot like Kel Kestis's background. But then when I thought about it for a minute, I thought, well, there are thousands and thousands of Jedi, and I'm sure a couple of them probably had younger ones that survived.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the same thing in Rebels.
I was gonna say it was
Right?
very similar to.
Yeah.
Right.
Same thing in Rebels. Same thing in Jedi Order. Same thing here. But, getting to see one who, because of his experience and his trauma, kind of broke bad.
Mm-hmm.
And
But not in the typical Sith way we've seen.
Yes,
of just,
exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
only going to look out for myself.
yeah, I thought it was telling, like at the end when he's still sitting there, goes, I don't want to hurt anybody. I
Right.
want you to still have your lives. I just want to be the one to make all the money.
Yeah.
Right? All that kind of stuff. But I mean, let's not forget, John did kill people.
He absolutely killed people.
in this
But
show.
I love when a villain justifies what they're doing.
Right.
And I love that they see themselves still not as the villain of doing well, no, you're putting yourselves in this situation. I've told you time and time again, don't disobey me. Don't do this. You're putting yourself in harm's way. And I love a villain like that.
Look
so
what
I
you're
want more
making
of
me
it.
do.
Exactly.
Yeah, his backstory was kind of like I kind of felt for him a little bit towards the end when he was
Yeah.
explaining what happened. I mean,
Ray and I were both like, I kind of feel bad. He just wants credits that aren't even really usable
Yeah.
for these people. Just let him have it and go.
Yeah.
Okay, can I say one thing that the show did great? It's difficult for the hero to walk into the vault or the treasure cave or whatever and to truly feel really overwhelmed by it. Aladdin, the original animated movie, did a great job of that when he went to the
Mhm.
Cave of Wonders. This one really did it. Like when they open that vault
Yeah.
and you see this chasm.
And there's multiple of them.
Like when you had these pirate groups willing to kill each other over one piece.
Yeah.
And there's this, they did a great job of that. That felt pretty cool. Anyway, but let me ask you then, Chris, though, about the actual ending, where it decided to end off. How did you feel about that?
It was a little. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Part of me feels like if they gave me a full, complete ending, they would have had to cram so much stuff in the end there because of these short episodes that to make it feel like a
Yeah.
satisfying conclusion, right? Of the what do we do now? How do we move forward? What happens to the supervisor? All of those things. I feel like they didn't have enough time to juggle all of those things. It would have been nice to have some sort of at least. Well, now we have to rebuild, or now we have to do something, just to
Right.
give us a little bit of a semblance of closing this chapter before we move on to the
Or
next.
or like at least give us some hint that there's going to be a season 2 then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was waiting for.
Well,
after
they
we went
got
through
to
all the
wait.
little Jedi slideshows.
Yeah, they got to wait to see that because, like, not surprisingly for the show,
It's expensive.
because
too.
again, coming off of a small streak of really bad shows that they've done, and this one looks like Goonies, so it's not going to appeal to the wide thing. So, not
Right.
surprisingly, like the ratings for the first 2 episodes came out, and they were low.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right? They were low, but that's not unexpected. Now, what's going to be telling is once the full ratings start coming out for then episode 3, 4, 5, and 6, because what I've been told is that, like, from all the like quorum and stuff like that, they're saying every week the viewership of Skeleton Crew went up. Now, did it go up enough?
Right.
Yeah.
And now will idiots like us talking about it turn some people on who didn't see it to go, guys, seriously, you need to watch this show. I know Acolyte was crap. I know Obi-Wan and Ahsoka disappointed. I know Book of Boba Fett was terrible. I get it. Skeleton Crew is something special. It's a special little show. Not on Andor level, but a very, very different kind of show. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think of, number 1, the finale of Skeleton Crew, but number 2, as a whole, the series as a whole? Whatever you guys thought about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, the DCU, the brand new cinematic universe that James Gunn and Peter Safran are putting together, running DC and all that kind of stuff, it still feels a little intangible to me. You know, like Creature Commandos has come out, and I ended up quite liking Creature Commandos. But it's not the real launch of the DCU, right? It just felt like another animated show that they put on.
Right.
Show, a good one, but still just that, right? Superman's coming. We got the trailer, but Superman's not here yet. But I'll tell you what, the DCU is now really starting to feel like it's taking shape, because not only have they had the first animated series out, not only has Superman finished shooting and put out its first trailer, but now it's official. The second live action feature film in the upcoming DCU is now in production. They are shooting the movie now, as reports have come out that the Supergirl movie has now officially started shooting in the UK. The folks over at CBR wrote this. With James Gunn rebooting the entire DC universe with co-CEO Peter Safran, fans are eager to see whether DC will finally receive the glory it deserves. With Superman slated to kick off the universe this summer, the second film has received an exciting update. Per Screen Daily, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow has started filming in the UK this week. The superhero film marks the second entry in the DCU's Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters. The previous update for the superhero film revealed that the movie is supposed to kick off production in January 2025, and the new report confirms the rumors. Production Weekly is reportedly expected that the production itself will run through May of 2025. So February, March, April, May. So it's going to be shooting for 4 months, which is a pretty big shoot for a movie of this nature. Of course, Jason Momoa has also been pretty active on social media, sharing stuff about that. Of course, we know now Jason Momoa is indeed officially playing Lobo in that. So it's funny because it feels like, Ray, maybe you can look up when this happened. When did the announcement come that James Gunn was taking over DC?
Oh, okay.
Was it a year and a half ago? Was it I can't remember exactly when it happened. Somebody online can come up with the date of when that announcement came out. But it feels like forever ago.
31st of 2023?
What 31st?
January.
So
Whoa.
2 years. Absolute Cinema is saying November.
Well, that's when he did the
2022.
video of.
Oh, the video.
introducing
Okay,
Gods
so
and
but the
Monsters.
announcement came in November of 2022.
Yeah, there you go.
Folks, we're now in 2025. So it's been over 2 years since that big announcement came out, that James Gunn, that I was so excited about. But now here we are. It's actually taking shape. One show is out. One movie's in the can. They're actually shooting their second movie right now. And it's kind of exciting times. And you know what? It's funny. I was having dinner with a friend of mine last night. And I said, I just realized we are in the year that Superman is coming out. We're here. It's this year. We're in the year the movie's coming out. And I hadn't thought about it in those terms before. And suddenly, even though the trailer had come out, suddenly it seemed very real. I mean, look, it is my most anticipated film of the year. I'm not saying it's going to be the best film of the year. I'm just saying it is pretty easily my most anticipated movie this year that I cannot wait to go and see. I'm dying for this. And listen, when they announced Supergirl, I was like, really? I'm not a huge, because generally speaking, I'm not a huge fan of derivative characters. Like, you got Flash and you got Kid Flash, and you've got, Aquaman and Aqualad, and you got I'm not usually very big on the derivative spin-off character kind of things. I thought, really? That's the second one you're gonna put out, Supergirl? But then they talked about which stories it was going to be based on. And all of a sudden we went, oh. Then we found out who they cast. And Millie Alcock, she so kills it in House of the Dragon. Like she's so good in House of the Dragon that when they did the time jump forward and brought in the new actress to play her, people are like, no, change the whole show. Just keep it in that era because we want to keep seeing her.
That doesn't even make sense.
I
but
know,
okay.
I know. But that's how good she is in it, right? And I think she's going to be a terrific super. And then, of course, I got really excited when they finally made the worst kept secret in Hollywood that Jason Momoa was going to be Lobo official. Yeah. That just adds fuel on top of it. So I think this is a very good time. Now, they better take advantage of this because right now they don't have to be accountable, right? It's easy right now to let's float on the glorious reception the trailer got and how excited everybody is. And Jason Momoa's here, everybody. We're shooting Supergirl. That's all good. It's all good. You know why it's all good? Because you don't have a bad movie out to counter it. we're getting close to the time when they're going to have to back it all up now and give us a really good Superman movie. But whatever, I think they just need to enjoy this right now. I'm enjoying it, and I'm excited that this movie is actually shooting. Anyway, Chris, you heard about this. Are you surprised they've gone into production now?
No.
Where's your anticipation level like for this movie right now? How are you feeling?
I am so excited they're in production, and it makes sense that they're starting now because this is going to be very effects heavy. This is also a very intense story. I think it's so interesting that our first solo Supergirl adventure that we're getting is this really epic revenge quest. It is a very dark storyline, particularly for the Super family, who we typically associate, even though they handle some very deep and complex situations, bright primary colors, big happy time, Supergirl, oh, she's happy and blonde and saving the world in her skirt. This is a really dark story that I think is so cool to focus on because that Ruthie or Ruthie, I've never heard it said out loud, I've only read it in comics, character is a child who is out to murder people.
Yeah.
You know, it's a really complex story. So I think it's a really cool one that needs a lot of time and care put into it. And I think James Gunn and his team are the people to do it. Millie Alcott is such a tremendous actress who we've seen be able to just really deftly handle both levity and intensity. She made so many of those House of the Dragon moments really fun and
so good.
filled with joy, but then could turn on a dime and be incredibly emotional or really vindictive or just pierce daggers with her eyes at people. So I think them starting this out so they can really hit all the emotional beats of this and then give themselves time to get to work and do all these incredible special effects because we're going to different planets. We're exploring the galaxy. That's a lot of work that you got to put into it, and you need to give your production time a lot of time for that as well. And then just on a kind of personal for all of us here in LA note too, I think the sooner people can get back into production in this town, the better. We have lost so many jobs from writer strike, actor strikes, all kinds of things. And now the devastation of this fire. It's really great that we've seen a lot of studios put money into funds to help get people back on their feet. We also need productions to be putting people here in Los Angeles back to work. And so I think the more studios that can get their poop in a group and get people working safely, obviously, that's going to do just loads for folks here.
Yeah. I mean, this one is shooting in the UK for now. They'll do some
But
shooting
you're going to
here.
have people here doing post-production,
Yeah,
which is
and
really
a lot of stuff.
important.
And they're going to be bringing the production back here for a
Yeah.
part of it as well.
You know, the very last Blu-ray I bought of, as in the DC animated films, I'm really into them. What they have brought out. There's an animated film called Superman and Batman Apocalypse. I remember buying it on the first day without knowing anything about it. I put it in, and then it ended up being a Supergirl.
It's the
story.
one where Darkseid kidnaps Supergirl,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It was
Wants to make her the general of his armies.
It was like the
yeah.
from the comic, the girl from Krypton or Supergirl from I loved it. That's
so
the
good.
moment where I was like, I really like Supergirl now. That so I hope it carries over to live action. I believe in this actress.
I don't think that's the Supergirl we're going to get, but they can tell a good Supergirl
yeah,
story.
I
they
feel
made
like
it interesting.
flavors of that, though. Yeah, some of the brutality that she showcases in that.
Exactly.
Ooh,
She
yeah.
shows like this anger in there that's like even Clark has to tone down a little bit. You know what I mean? But yeah, I can't wait for this movie. I can't wait for this whole thing to start.
Yeah.
Now look, I already saw a couple people in the live chat saying, is anybody even excited for Supergirl? There's a little movie coming called Superman. The biggest advertising for Supergirl, the movie, is going to be this Superman movie. It comes out 1 year after Superman opens. Like, it opens in July of 2026. So like we're only a year and a half away from this Supergirl movie coming out. So is everybody excited? Like, is everybody out there excited about a Supergirl movie right now? No. And quite frankly, neither am I all that much. I mean, but I've been made excited by the little bits of news, but the average film fan out there probably isn't all that excited about Supergirl. Well, that's what Superman's going to do. If Superman's awesome, and this is why I keep talking, I've been talking about this for 2 years now, that Superman doesn't need to be a big blockbuster hit. It needs to be a great critical hit with the audiences and with the critics, stuff like that, so that the next movies coming out can have their box offices get bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's because, listen, I hate being negative, but if Superman sucks, and I don't think it will, but if it does, this Supergirl movie's in trouble. The Supergirl movie's in trouble if Superman sucks. And so there's a lot there's again, no pressure, James, but there's a lot riding on this Superman movie being really good. They really need this movie to be good. And if the trailer's any indication, they're on the right path. And I have all the faith in the world in James Gunn. But mark my words, guys, if Superman sucks, this Supergirl movie is in a lot of trouble. But anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Supergirl is now actually shooting. It's a real thing now. Jason Momoa, Millie Alcock, they're all on set right now in the costumes, in the capes, making this movie that's coming out in just a year and a half. However you guys feel about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? You know, we all know there's a couple of more Avengers movies coming. We got Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Of course, the Russo brothers are back, and McFeely and who's his writing partner?
Steven.
Marcus and McFeely back together with the Russo brothers. They're going to be making the same quadrant team that gave us, you know, Civil War, Winter Soldier, Infinity War, Endgame. They're all back together. But stories come out where when the Russo brothers first got a hold of Marcus and McFeely, say, hey guys, we're back on to do a new Avengers thing. Their initial response was not, awesome, we're going to do more Avengers. No. The response they got was literally, fuck no, is the answer they got. This comes to us from Screen Rant, quoting an interview with Anthony and Joe Russo. I'm going to read it at length here because it's interesting. We're very close with Kevin Feige and Lou D'Esposito, Marvel Studios co-president, and the entire Marvel team, and we've had conversations through the years. We've talked about a lot of ideas. So apparently the Russo brothers have been in talks with Marvel, kind of kicking around the can on a movie idea for them to come back for years now. Anyway, really what happened was we ended up stumbling upon an idea that activated all of us. You couldn't see it coming until it came. And once it came to us, it was like, well, that's a story we need to tell. Then Joe Russo cuts in and says, there were ideas that we were trying to wrap our heads around that preceded this one. Rumor is it was going to be a Captain America and Agent Carter story with them living at a time anyway. And we just never found the story. I remember calling Steve McFeely, co-writer of the Russo brothers MCU movies, and said, hey, crazy idea. What do you think if we all go back and do Secret Wars? And you, talking about McFeely, you were like, fuck no, absolutely not. And then you hung up, and the next morning at 7:30, you called and were like, all right, I have an idea. At the first reaction, the first response from the writer, even being told, me and Anthony are back, we're the Kevin Feige, we're moving on this, the biggest movies we've ever done are the Avengers movies. Aren't you excited that we get to do another one? And his first response was, no, not interested. Thanks. And they hung up. And then I love the last part where it wasn't even a full 24 hours. It was probably like 9 hours later. The phone rings and it's like, all right, I have an idea. And therein the movie was born.
That's like the perfect ending of, like, if this is a series, that was the ending of episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next episode, it picks up with the writer on his day. And then it's like 7 a.m. He's like, I got an idea.
If Skeleton Crew could have just ended with
Neil
Neil
dies.
saying, fuck no.
Or that.
And then Wim was like, I got an idea.
Yeah, KG says to Neil,
Defer.
we need cover. Fuck no.
No.
that would have been the greatest moment in Skeleton Crew if that all of a sudden out of nowhere Neil said, fuck no. That would have been the best thing ever. Anyway, getting back to this, the whole idea about, all right, I got an idea. And I'm assuming the next words were, what if we brought back RDJ as Dr. Doom? That I'm just assuming that, right? I'm sure we'll find out if that's what actually happened once the movies come out on home video and we get the director's commentaries and stuff like that. But I do love that it just first of all, I love the fact that he said no at first. Now I'm sure Marcus and McFeely have a lot of work, right? They are, it's not like they're hurting for work right now. So the very fact that they said no, you know what it reminds me of? I can never remember the name of the actor, but in the Clerks movies, you have Dante and you have Randall?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I loved when I was watching Clerks 2, when I was watching the DVD for Clerks 2, and Kevin Smith was like, you know, we were all excited. We got the financing to do Clerks 2. And I called whoever the actor was that played Dante and like, yeah, everybody's so excited. And then I got a hold of the actor's name who played Randall.
Jeff
and
Anderson.
That's it, Jeff. And Jeff just went, nope, not doing it. And they had to spend a lot of time convincing him to come back and do it. And it's not like he was a busy working actor. He was just like, nope, I think what we did with the first one, I don't want to ruin it. And they came back. So I kind of like the fact that McFeely's like, nah, thanks, but no thanks. But then instantly the gears in his head start turning. And he calls him the next morning and says, all right, I got an idea. I want a t-shirt that says that just says, all right, I've got an idea. I love that. Anyway, Chris, you read this story. What do you take away from it?
I mean, my initial thought was, yeah, there's so much pressure on following up these big tentpole films. And look at how everyone's reacted to Marvel post Endgame and everything. Of the Marvel universe is just not good anymore. It's dropped in quality, which it has. I'll be one of those people who says it has dropped in quality. I don't think it's as bad and as abysmal as people have made it out to be, but there's definitely been a drop. We've also seen this with people who have been approached for Star Wars. Of, hey, do you want to write or direct a Star Wars film? Hell no.
No. Have
The
you
fans
seen
are
that
so
fan
mean.
base these days?
Yeah, absolutely not.
Oh yeah, but I mean, Star Wars is way worse than
So
Marvel.
much
Yeah.
worse, so much worse. Marvel, at least for the most part, it seems like everyone just wants the best content being made, and sometimes we have
hopeful.
some very loud voices who talk about the MCU or some nonsense. I think that it's great that they were so honest about this. Of, I don't know if this is for us, and I'm not hurting for work, so maybe I don't want to jump back into that ring because that's a lot of pressure, that's a lot of work. I don't know if it's for me. And I think more people need to be transparent about that in art. I think so many times, this is also why I really love the folks over at Studio Ghibli, because they'll talk about how like making movies is horrible and painful and awful, but I can't quit because I love making movies. And I wish more people were transparent about this kind of work because it is difficult. It is hard to write a really good script. It is hard to direct something. It's hard to make anything. And I think if people were a little more honest like this of, oh, I really had my doubts or I really didn't want to do it, I think we all would appreciate the work that everyone does even more, especially for all the people who, you know, go on the internet and decide that they could write 10 scripts that are far superior
Yeah,
to
everybody thinks they
anything
can
that
write a
Marvel's
script.
put out.
Yeah.
I think that kind of honesty would be helpful.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you make of this? I love the story myself. I think this is a great one to tell. I mean, not to mention that committing to these movies probably means like a 4 or 5 year commitment of working on these things when you look how long they go, and they keep working with the Russo brothers even once the script is done. I don't know, but I love this story. How did you feel about it? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, we finally got a little bit of an update from Matt Reeves saying that the Batman 2 will go into production this year, sometime. Remember, the movie originally had a release date of 2024, I think. I think Batman 2 originally had a release date of 2024. Anyway, maybe even 2023. That obviously didn't happen. There was a lot of things have happened since then. But anyway, getting that coming. Now, we just finished the glory that is The Penguin. That show was unfreaking believable. Cannot believe how good it was. Colin Farrell winning the Golden Globe for Best Actor in it. Good on him. It's just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic show. So looking forward to season 2. There have been a lot of hints that they were actually going to do a season 2. We talked about that a few weeks ago when, you know, one of the show producers was kind of saying, we might have a little something. Well, now there might be a major holdup to that. And the major holdup to that seems to be Matt Reeves, who I want to remind everybody was neither a director nor a writer on Penguin. This comes from CBR. I'm going to read this at length because it's pretty interesting. Speaking with MTV News, Matt Reeves addressed whether he intends to create more spin-offs following the Golden Globe winning success attained by The Penguin. Though Reeves is intrigued by adding more series to his Batverse, he insists completing the oft-delayed Batman Part 2 is his main objective, which it should be. I would love to do more spin-off series, Reeves said, adding that the things we've really focused on is Part 2. That's Batman Part 2. Reeves also reiterated the desire to continue The Penguin for another season, but wants to get Part 2 going before seeing where things go. We're talking about doing the second season of The Penguin, but my big priority is to get the Batman 2 shooting and going, Reeves said. And then it'll be exciting to see where we go from there. Okay. That's fine. That's good. But while Matt Reeves was the overall producer, the godfather, if you will, of the Penguin, there is no Penguin series without Matt Reeves. The reality is he is neither a writer on the series, nor is he a director on any of the episodes. They can move forward if they wanted to with a Penguin season 2 without Matt Reeves. Now, don't take this as any sort of slight on how awesome Matt Reeves is. I think he's amazing. My big complaint with him is that I'm not getting more of his stuff because I think his stuff is so good. That's my complaint, that I'm not getting more. I'm greedy that way. And complaining about where's Batman 2, Matt? If I didn't like his work, I wouldn't care. But I love his work, so I care. But, I mean, the concept of saying we need to hold up everybody else from working on a Penguin season 2, we need to prevent the studio from doing anything on it, or all those talented producers, writers, and directors who came up with and executed Penguin. No. You guys need to all wait. I'm working on Batman Part 2. Everybody else wait. Now, there might be something lost in translation here. Like, because, it's not like this is not a planned statement that Matt Reeves put out. An interviewer asked him a question and he just kind of answered it and didn't think about the answer, just kind of answered it. So maybe there's a little something lost in translation there. Maybe that's not what he's saying at all, which would be great. That would be great. I'm just saying the way it came out, which might not have been the way he intended, the way it came out kind of sounded like, no Penguin until I'm ready to do it. And I got to focus on this Batman 2, which is now over 3 years late. And I don't understand that mentality. Like if Matt Reeves was the lead writer and directed the first 3 episodes and all that kind of stuff of the Penguin, then I would get it kind of. But he wasn't a writer on it. He wasn't a director on it. You got a creative group of people that have all the capability in the world to move forward with the Penguin season 2. Because listen, even if they went into production tomorrow, which they wouldn't, even if they went into production tomorrow on Penguin season 2, there's a chance we wouldn't even get that till late 2026. That's if they started tomorrow. And so I kind of wish Matt would go, hey, listen, delegate. We have a great group of people who made the first season. Go forth and make the second one. Just make sure it doesn't come out until after the Batman Part 2 because I got my plans for the Penguin. That's fair too. So anyway, kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. But again, it may not at all have been the way he intended it to sound. And I'm totally cognizant of that. So anyway, we'll see. Anyway, Chris, you hear Matt Reeves' words. Mm-hmm. How do you interpret them? Do you think he's saying that we can't do anything on Penguin season 2 till I've got the Batman 2? Or should he let other people just go and run with it? I don't know. How do you take this?
I feel like he's got a great support staff too here who can really take over for Penguin. Obviously, he wasn't that day-to-day involved in that series, as you pointed out. But I understand why the priority is the next Batman film and also kind of weaving it in. So, hey, Batman movie, Penguin series, Batman movie, maybe we follow up on Penguin series, maybe we do another standalone season of something, because Batman brought in what, 772 billion or something? Million, excuse me, not billion.
That would be incredible.
That'd be insane. We all would be all dressed like this all the time if that were the case. So it brought in a ton of money. It also got, accolades as well. It got Oscar nominations. So I can understand why this is the focus. I do feel like it is one of those red carpet sound bites of just, let me answer your question really quickly and try to say it in the most concise, PR-ready way possible. Yeah. I don't think it's a negative thing. I don't think it's him being like, it's my way or the highway. I'm not going to do anything without my perfect seal.
That's a good point, because he's been under a lot of heat. Why did I just turn into Mario? He's been under a lot of heat.
Still better than Chris Pratt. Well done.
It's a Sicilian. He's been under a lot of heat with the delays and the news that just came out that it's 2027 now that it's coming out or whatever. And it could be like an OS moment, like, hey, I better make sure everyone understands this is my prime focus. Like, no, it's the Batman 2. We're doing everything we can to get it to you. You know what I mean?
That's kind of how
but then
I
you
view
can't,
it.
you can't because it's hard to win, because then people are like, well, what about season 2 of Penguin?
Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure, for me, I want quality products. And so if it does take time. It takes time. I want quality over quantity. It's been my issue with so many of the superhero franchise films is they rush something out just for the sake of rushing it out. Give me these wonderful Oscar-worthy, Golden Globe-worthy pieces of media so I can really enjoy them. Because if they're that caliber each time, I don't care how long it takes. I get to watch something amazing.
I bristle against the idea that it's one or the other.
That's fair.
That you either get something crappy or you have to wait 7 years to get something good. You know what I mean? I think
a middle ground.
I think
for
there's
sure.
a middle ground there for that. By the way, somebody said something in the live chat. It was one of our regular viewers, Tom Weinberg, who said the Penguin is an in-between story for the films, not its own completely separate thing. I would disagree. I would say it is both.
Yeah.
I mean, like if the Batman kept popping up in the Penguin movie, in the Penguin show, I
Right.
mean, yeah, maybe. But the Penguin is, if you never saw the Batman, you're fine. The Penguin is completely, season 1 is its own independent standalone story. And it is both that and an in-between story bridging the things of Batman 1 and 2. So I don't think it's an either or. I think it was a both and sort of thing. But again, just so much great story left to tell with this character. I want to see that side of Gotham a little bit more, like not from the hero's perspective. I really hope they get moving again, because remember, guys, even if they go into production on this show tomorrow, we're almost 2 years away from seeing it.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm asking them to rush something out.
No.
It's just, it's time. It is time to start working on it.
Yeah.
They're not even working on it right now.
The better part of a decade is a lot to ask, right? That's a long amount of time.
Yeah.
Well, you pointed this out yesterday of how the Gotham Rogues Gallery, the Batman Rogues Gallery, is so cool and interesting. There's just so much good stuff to mine there, and it can be done so well. And I think that's what a lot of people want more of too, is just seeing it from Batman works best when he's the antagonist. I know he's the hero. He can be the antagonist in a story. It's not black and white like that. When you see things from the perspective of Oz, of Joker, of Ed Nigma, that kind of stuff, it creates really interesting dichotomies and stories. And there's so much to do there.
Yeah. And like I said already, like I get it. They probably need a Penguin season 2, if it existed, to come out after Batman 2.
Yeah.
Totally get that. But that means you'd have to start working on it.
That's
Exactly.
Pretty
just
soon.
tighten up that timeline.
You
And
at
to-
least have to get your writer's room. I'm not saying you need to go in front of cameras
Yeah.
tomorrow, but you should at least be pulling your writer's room together at this point.
Sure.
So it can be ready to go. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, super excited for Batman 2, but I also kind of think they should allow a writer's room to get started working on writing out scripts and getting a story together for a Penguin season 2. Because even if they do right now, we're years away from it being able to come out. Anyway, however you guys feel about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Christmas came a little late this year, as this morning we woke up and found under our virtual trees a little present in a red box, and a pretty bow with the tag says, "From Kevin Feige." And we leaned down, we opened up this little box. When we opened it up, there was a dick inside. But underneath that dick in the box, there was a Daredevil trailer.
No one was with you on that one. No one, everyone stop following
People
what
who
you're saying.
people who don't watch Saturday Night Live are not going to understand that. Anyway,
I was just thinking like 7, but okay.
Yeah, that's what my brain
severed
went
head.
too. I thought it was just a severed peen.
that's what you get for Christmas. You get a dick in a box.
Don't
So
do it.
anyway,
Not coffee. I almost did a spit take.
Daredevil trailer came. The Daredevil trailer is here. And oh my God, is it delicious? It's
Specifically the Daredevil trailer.
Yeah.
Yes, the Daredevil trailer
I think
itself.
it was below the thing.
Yeah.
So good. So great. Because here's why this trailer was so great. On 2 different levels.
All right.
One, it showed that it's brutal. Like when they literally show the guy in the trailer getting his freaking arm snapped in half. And not even snapped in half. Like
Ugh,
then the blood starts coming
yeah.
out of it. and like all the brutal violence and all that kind of stuff.
You got this guy with the glass.
Oh my! And this is just a trailer.
This is gonna be gnarly. There's gonna be a lot of stuff that I can't watch.
I bet there's gonna be some eye violence.
There's gonna be so much eye violence.
There's
so
We
much
know.
eye violence.
This leg snap.
Yeah.
Oh, but again, wasn't just the arm snap. It was the arm snap
And
because we
blood.
see arm snaps all the time. The arm snap and then blood.
Blood.
Like
Because you actually see the bone, like the
Yeah.
outline of the bone.
It was like Dante's Peak.
now, the reason I think that's so great is because, well, number one, as Daredevil is a street level, visceral, violent character, that's going to be part of it, right? But I love it too because, again, even though we just got Deadpool and Wolverine, which was by far the dirtiest, filthiest, most violent Deadpool movie yet, everybody was afraid of the Disneyfication of it, and they blew that out of the water. There were still a lot of people I would see online that were afraid that Disney was going to take Daredevil and Disneyfy it. Oh, it's not going to actually be as mature. It's not going to be as action oriented. It's not going to be as violent. They're going to clean it up. They're going to make it nice and tidy and stuff like that. And to me, this trailer was a very loud megaphone statement saying, no, it isn't. Like, hey, maybe this show doesn't end up being good. Maybe the show won't be as good as it was before. I'm sure they think they probably make the best season yet. But even if it's not, it ain't Disneyfied. We're going to go visceral and violent and dark and all that kind of stuff, and that's going to be there. So somebody's asking in live chat, is it R-rated? TV shows don't get R ratings. Just so you know, this is a TV show, not a movie. It'll probably be TVMA.
Yeah.
So I love that part of it. But the second part of it that I loved is that it doesn't seem, from just what we saw in a brief trailer, it doesn't seem like they're skimping on the depth.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just going, oh, just make it super violent. And no, that scene, even the brief look we get at it of just Kingpin and Matt sitting in the diner, and just the dialogue and the tension in it. Thank you for taking the time. I must confess it's not completely unpleasant to see you. And like, what's the line Kingpin says, talking about how the violence controls us?
Right.
Like, I'm trying to remember the exact wording of it, but somebody in the live chat who's got the exact wording, but there's this line in it that I thought is like just one of the best lines ever from a Disney Plus TV show.
They basically become addicted to the power that it brings.
Or how that violent nature, the violence in us controls us, and it becomes something like that. It was such a great line, and that whole tension of that and everything. It's like, yeah, this is what I remember about the old Daredevil show, that it had great dialogue, great tension, and then when it came time to throw the switch, Marcus Wine live chat, what is violence if not grief persevering?
Okay.
Which is taken from the greatest line in a Marvel TV show. But just that they then throw a switch from this depth and tension and great story, and then throw a switch and it just become this wild, radically violent kind of thing. That's the brilliance of the ballet that Daredevil's always done, balancing those two aspects of it. Of course, seeing John Bernthal back as Frank, so good. I just love that line. We saw it in the D23 trailer, but that line, would you mind putting the hatchet down? It's like, says the blind man. Again, I thought this trailer was spectacular. Doesn't mean the show's going to be great. The jury's still out on that, right? Let me, for all the people, just because the trailer's good, John. I know, I'm acknowledging that. Great trailer doesn't automatically mean great show or movie. 100% I agree with you. But we're talking about the trailer today. And the trailer was something special. The trailer was really, really good. So top marks to them. Chris, what do you think about the trailer overall? Was there anything in it that stood out to you?
Oh man, it was killer. It was so great. I just loved seeing our three buddies walking down the street together again.
Oh yeah, because I think one of them's dying.
Why do you all want my characters to die?
I just.
Why can't I just have a nice day where everybody lives?
That would be a nice day, wouldn't it?
Just let the avocados at law be fine. Let them hang out. I think one of my big takeaways from this too was because last year we had, I think Echo was still 2024, yeah? And then Agatha. Those were our two series that we had. And Agatha was great and looked great and everything. Echo, I enjoyed a bit more than everyone else in this room. This show looks simultaneously so expensive in the way that it's shot and lit, and so comic booky at the same time.
Yeah.
Like there is a very kind of Frank Miller lighting to everything too, where people's faces are kind of halfway shadowed that I'm really enjoying. I really, really think that everything just looks so rich and again, just has these kind of graphic novel full page spread moments that is so cool.
This looks very Frank Miller.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm hoping we have a lot of that throughout the series. I hope we have some moments that just look like a really beautiful kind of page out of a graphic novel, because that's one of the things that I think this show can achieve in such a great way, is just doing a lot of show, not telling.
Yeah.
And we get that in this trailer too. Love this shot. This
Yeah,
is
with the
great
different
with all the different hats.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I'm really pumped about this. I do want to learn more about our other characters who are popping up here. You know, we get a little glimpse of Heather Glenn and everything as well. Want to know more about her and how that's going to factor into this as well. I'm excited. This moved the needle for me. I was already pumped about the show, but man, it's nice when you see a trailer and you go, oh, I was right to be excited.
I wonder, one of the lines that really haunted it in me was when Kingpin and Matt are talking, and Matt says, a line was crossed.
Right.
Two different ways to interpret that. He crossed a line. I think that's the way most people are interpreting it, that Matt is saying that he himself crossed a line. And because he crossed a line, he had to back off. Another way to interpret it, though, getting back to Foggy, is saying that Foggy ended up getting killed. Like maybe he means a personal line or a pain threshold line or something that ended up with Foggy getting killed. Maybe yes, maybe no. We're just speculating at this time. But that whole part of him just saying a line was crossed, it just immediately made my brain cells like start firing, trying to figure out, oh, what does he mean by that? And like, did he, like, maybe somebody killed Foggy and then he hauled off and just brutally murdered the person who did it? Or, I mean, I don't know. It could be a mixture of the two, but that was a very, very intense line for me that I really liked. What do you think he meant by it when he said a line was crossed?
I feel like he's talking about himself. I feel like, because that was such a big through line, at least in the last series with Foggy, of you're losing yourself to the devil. You're not you do these things right. You became a lawyer for a reason. You don't have to go around beating people to death to get justice. Do it by the book. And I'm wondering if we're going to have more of that, of him crossing that line physically and having to pull himself back so that he can keep the people in his life who love and care about him. Because it is such a fine line too, of if he is just taking out the trash, how does that make him different than the villains that he's fighting? You know, that old kind of Batman adage.
Do you think that helmet reveal where he's in that room and the door opens and then we see all the helmets? Do you think that's in the last episode?
No, I mean, it's a good question, but Marvel tends to show in their trailers the stuff that happens in the first one or two episodes.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that's probably something that's going to be, including, don't forget, he's got the one cowl there that's from She-Hulk.
So you don't think because the way the trailer came off to me was, it's him trying to get back into the Daredevil suit, the whole series. Like, you know how he's talking to Fizz? Because like some of the scenes, he has that red mask on.
No,
he has that red
that's actually my fear.
That's not him? That's not him?
No, the audience, they'll lose the audience if Daredevil doesn't have Daredevil until the final 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah,
But
that's
him
my
with
fear.
the bag on his head, right? That red sack.
Well, we don't know. Maybe.
Could be. Not really sure. By the way, Pascal in the live chat gave us the quote, "It's hard to come to terms with the violent nature, hating the power it has over us." That was a terrible Kingpin. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, Jonathan, you do it.
But it was
Too late.
Yeah. Can you read the line? But it's a great line. It's a fabulous, fabulous line. Anyway, I love this trailer. I cannot wait for this series. Guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to check out the Daredevil trailer? If so, what did you think about it? You got any thoughts on it? Jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of the show, which is, of course, taking your observations, points of view, thoughts, questions, and topics. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at CookUnity. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, CookUnity. You ever feel like so much of your day revolves around planning meals or preparing food, especially when you're trying to eat healthier? I know we all do, but that all changes when you discover CookUnity. Now you can enjoy vibrant, chef-crafted meals without spending hours in the kitchen. It's freed up so much of my time and energy to focus on my other goals. CookUnity partners with award-winning chefs, the same chefs you see on TV and those five-star restaurants, to create small batch meals just for you. These meals are made with fresh, local, in-season ingredients delivered right to your door. And here's the best part. They arrive fresh, not frozen, and all it takes is a few minutes to heat them up. I recently tried their Mom's Sunday Sauce Rigatoni, and it was incredible. Plus, knowing that I'm supporting local chefs and sustainable suppliers makes every bite even better. Whether you want variety, convenience, or just better food, CookUnity has it all. Reset your routine with convenient, mouth-watering meals crafted with local ingredients by award-winning chefs. Go to cookunity.com/Campea or enter the code Campea before checkout for 50% off your first week. That's 50% off your first week by using the code Campea or by going to cookunity.com/Campea.
And thank you so much to CookUnity for being a sponsor of today's video. We greatly appreciate that. Use that promo code. It helps us out and it helps you out. You get some tasty food. Hooray, a win-win. All right, now we're getting to the most important part of the show, your questions. So Jonathan, what do we have?
First up, we got Gary, who says, I've had a theory since Black Panther 2 came out that his son T'Challa will be aged up somehow and take over the Black Panther mantle. What are the odds the buzz about the recasting of Chadwick Boseman is misunderstood is really casting his adult son?
I don't know how everyone would feel about kind of a Lion-O approach to Black Panther of just, hey, we did some Marvel comic magic thing and we aged up a child to now fight.
It's just such a super simple thing to do. Like, oh, it's big. So you're an adult now. So you can handle all of life's crises and run a country and geopolitics, and you know how to fight now because you're an adult.
You're an adult.
You would just be a clumsy adult. Like,
exactly.
No, you have to have life experience.
I'm barely functioning. I'm a fart in the wind, y'all.
There you go.
They shouldn't make me pay taxes. I'm just a baby. But I don't think they're going to do that. But I understand that theory. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Slartbart says, hey, John, with all the buzz about The Brutalist, I decided watch one of the movies that launched Brady Corbett's acting career, Mysterious Skin. Lately, I've enjoyed going into acclaimed movies blind. This movie made me reconsider that decision.
Oh, did you know anything about The Brutalist when you went to go see it?
I felt like the ads were promoting.
Okay.
So
based on that,
I went and saw it at the lovely Vista Theater, Tarantino's like remodeled theater, and that was a great experience. First half of that movie, chef's kiss. Once his wife arrives, it kind of plateaus, and then it just goes down, down, and it's just suffering. Things aren't being accomplished. Like, I watched the trailer now. I'm like, you guys are lying to the people. You're making it seem like he's overcoming these things, and it's triumphant. And it's like there's an epilogue near the end, and it's like 3 minutes, and it's like, and then everything worked out. Ding!
Oh, boo.
It's like, dude, I spent almost 4 hours. No, I did, because there's a intermission.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I did spend 4 hours of my day on this film,
You
and it was
brave soul.
It was a downer.
Damn. Ray, do you ever go to movies without having seen a trailer or anything of just, hey, I'll take a gamble on this?
Only one time in my life. It was
Wasn't John Wick?
Pitch Black.
Oh, Pitch Black.
With Vin Diesel.
I thought you did with John Wick too. You didn't.
Oh yeah, John Wick as well. I'm sorry. Pitch Black was the very first one. The very second one was John Wick, and only because Dennis Zen's like, hey, this movie's got 100%. We're all gonna go see it. And I said, okay. And ended up being so good. I mean, both of them were actually really good. If any of you remember Pitch Black, I think that was my introduction to Vin Diesel. Maybe a lot of us introduction to Vin Diesel. I didn't know what it was about. I thought it was a horror film. Me and my girlfriend at the time.
It had elements, but
it was really good.
I liked it. Yeah, because of this job, I really don't go into things blind anymore. I would love the opportunity to just go into.
It's hard. It's hard.
I miss it.
I'm so envious of my husband. Logan just a lot of times will be, oh, there's a new movie of that coming out. I'm not going to see a single trailer. You just let me know when you want to go see it.
I don't even care about spoilers anymore because it's just we're in the industry and it's like we're just going to know.
Exactly.
So, whatever.
100%.
Garden Variety Vagabond says, you mentioned how with the short length Skeleton Crew could be a movie. With the lack of Star Wars movies, imagine the money they would have brought in if it was a movie in theaters versus streaming. Probably not $1 billion, but safely 400 to 500. Possibly. I think when we're talking about making it a movie, I'm not used to the shots because John's not here. We're talking about a movie probably made for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that this story had enough that it was going to draw $500 million or 400 million worth of ticket sales. What do you think?
Sure. Well, and we have to remember that Star Wars does not have a great track record right now. And again, what we talked about earlier is the fan base is pretty split, and a lot of it's pretty toxic. And I think if you say your first big Star Wars movie back on the big screen in a long time is Kids in Space Goonies, you're going to have a whole bunch of people who are shooting that down immediately. I mean, I feel like you got to go back to kind of your bread and butter of Star Wars, of doing some big, epic, actual big battles with Jedi, Sith, that sort of thing, which we have elements of in Skeleton Crew, but I don't know if it's the one that you relaunch your movie theater experience with.
Right.
I would love to see this on the big screen. I was really bummed that I missed out on getting to see this at the Disney lot because they did the season finale that way.
That would have been great.
It would have been really, really cool. I'm hoping they do. That's something I think Disney could do, especially at the El Capitan or something, of just doing re-releases of these episodes. I would absolutely pay to marathon this.
Yeah. Anonymous says, Apple is becoming my home for comedy shows with Dick Turpin, Ted Lasso, Shrinking, and now Bad Sisters, which I highly recommend. Second season has Fiona Shaw. I was crying with laughter. It's so funny. It's set in Ireland, and the scenery is also gorgeous.
Bad Sisters is so good. Y'all, you need to be watching this show. It is so excellent. Both seasons are on Apple. It is so fun and intriguing and messy and brutal at times. Oh,
I think
great.
I keep confusing this one with, I think maybe it's on Netflix, but it's about the women who take down that serial killer.
Oh.
I think it's based on a true story. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's inspired.
Maybe. I'm trying to think
But
what
it's a
that
darker
show's called.
sister, so a darker story.
Okay.
And so when I see Bad Sisters, I'm like, is that one? But yeah, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one, season 1, you're trying to figure out who murdered somebody, and you're kind of getting some flashbacks and then moving forward in the story.
Bad Monkey's pretty good too.
Bad Monkey's great.
At first, I was like, well, this is a fun comedy, kind of a straightforward thing. But as it goes, it gets a little more deeper. And
it gets really interesting.
I'm not done with it yet. I'm like maybe 60% done.
Okay.
It's one of those I just take an episode at a time and do other things, come back.
I do that thing where I try to figure it out as I'm going and I yell it. And that was one where I was actually really surprised by the twists and turns.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's a good one.
All right. Well, we got Danny B, who says, hi, John and crew. Been watching you since WandaVision. Love your show. I recently watched all 3 Kenneth Branagh's Hercule Poirot movies. My favorite was
Hercule Poirot.
Yeah. Yeah. Now he comes back. A Haunting in Venice. What did you think of these movies, and do you think we'll get any more? That's the only one of the 2 I didn't see, or 3 I didn't see.
Oh.
Any? Did you like Haunting in Venice? Did you see it?
Yeah. I'll be honest. Those are, by the way, it wasn't anything important. It was just one of those things that was urgent, not important. So sorry about that. I love Kenneth Branagh. I love him. These films are not my favorite of his. I didn't particularly love the first one. I didn't particularly love the second one, and I found the third one fairly forgettable. So yeah, it's, again, I think he is a tremendous both actor and filmmaker. Not my favorite of the bunch. Did you have a thought on him?
A Haunting in Venice, I think, is interesting because of the 3, it does dabble more into supernatural things, and it's shot really beautifully. Same kind of boat, though. I'm somebody who loves like Agatha Christie stories and everything like that. I used to go see the Summer Chill series in Houston at the Alley Theater every year. And this one just, I loved it so much. This one, I just feel like it doesn't operate in the suspenseful way that we want those kind of cat and mouse Agatha Christie stories to operate.
All right, what's next?
DJ Info says, you might not recall, but when Chadwick first passed, you did say it could be an idea for Jordan to take the role of T'Challa. Everyone would be like, WTF, but then just get on with it. Have you changed your mind, or was it a case they had to do it straight away?
I don't remember saying that was that I liked the idea of Michael Jordan doing it. Of course, that there was a lot going through my head when we first found out that Chadwick Boseman died. But if I did think that initially, then my mind had completely. Then once I gave it even a monicum of thought, I think it's a terrible idea.
Yeah,
it makes absolutely no sense. That the guy, I mean, you think for a second Wakanda would accept anybody with the face of Killmonger who like had their entire country on the brink of destruction, caused the death of so many Wakandans, tried to usurp the throne, like was a genocidal maniac, tried to get Wakandan military to go out and kill men, women, and children. He specifically said, kill the children. There's just no way a Wakanda would ever, even if they knew, oh, this is him from another universe, there's no way a Wakanda would ever accept that. So I just never liked the idea of, as great as Michael B. Jordan is, I just never thought that was a good idea. All right, what's next?
DJ Info 2-parter says, if they truly do struggle to get someone to put on the pause, how about this? A version of Strange, who still has the time stone, ages up to T'Challa. Now he looks like his Uncle Killmonger. Part of the next movie is he's convincing everyone to trust him. It's not Eric, but it's T'Challa Jr. Hoping this gets John and Ray's approval. I know the chances of John's are slim. Doesn't get mine either.
So basically what you're saying is, during the events of the first Black Panther, Michael B. Jordan's character sneaks off when we weren't looking, the cameras are on them, and has sex with Lupita Nyong'o. And thus, that's the only reason it could be explained that the kid ends up looking just like Michael B. Jordan.
But they were cousins.
I'm sure they were.
So this is just his pitch to try to get Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. No, it's a terrible idea. Bad, terrible idea. All right, what's next?
All right, one more from DJ. From the day The Martian was ranked as a comedy at the Globes, it always stuck in the back of my mind when the awards come around. Almost wonder if it's a ploy to raise conversation buzz on the awards, as there's a strange one yearly, and we kick up a fuss.
Again, look, listen, it's not even worth talking about. It's the Golden Globes. They simply don't matter. The Golden Globes, again, look, for those of you who wonder why I say that, the Academy Awards are adjudicated and voted on by 7,000 to 8,000 professional filmmakers in the industry, writers, directors, producers, actors, musicians, like all that kind of stuff. It is voted on by the Academy. Thousands and thousands and thousands of filmmaking professionals vote on that. That is its credibility. The Golden Globes, not sure the exact number right now, but as of a couple of years ago, 70 random film journalists who work for foreign publications that happen to live in Los Angeles. That's the criteria of the Hollywood Foreign Press. There's no credibility to that. It's just a bunch of randos, as you like the entire body of the Hollywood filmmaking system and every actors and directors and writers who make films for a living voting on it. That's the credibility. Golden Globes. Now they put on a great show. I've always given them that. They put on the Golden Globe show is a great show. They really do. They do a good job of that every year. But the awards are meaningless, so there's really no point. And like every year, they put things in these categories for one reason and one reason only. Not to honor the films, but to draw attention to themselves. That's why the Golden Globes nominate the way they nominate. That's why they have the categories that they have. Not to bring attention to those movies or to celebrate those films. They do it to bring attention to themselves. And that's why the Golden Globes are useless. Anyway.
They also weren't diversified in their voters until about 2022. I remember when we reported on that, when
Yeah.
they finally got, some people of color and women on the board.
So
Yeah,
they're woke
So
now.
they're
No, it
so
wasn't
woke.
it wasn't just on the board. I remember when the report came out, they didn't have a
They
single,
didn't have a single black.
not a single black voter,
voter.
not a
Yeah.
single black person
Back in
on the
2021.
entire thing. It's like,
Yep.
how? Like the only way that happens, I'm sorry, it's that if it was a group of 5 and you didn't have a single black voter, it's like, well,
Then you're basically the cast of Friends.
that's coincidence. Once you have 80 members and not
That's a
one,
choice.
that is screaming you're intentionally keeping them out. Like, I'm sorry, like just the law of averages says at that point you are
Someone would have,
purposefully excluding people.
And before
So-
somebody talks about diversity initiatives or anything like that, you need to have diversity in these voters because different stories
'Cause
need
these
to
films
be told.
represent
They
differently.
represent the entire human experience.
Yeah.
So that's why it was important.
Because then you end up like, well, that movie didn't speak to me, but it's like, but maybe that spoke to
But it
someone
spoke to
else.
someone else, yeah.
Anyway, All right, what's next?
Curious Beetle says, I really like Dave Filoni, but it seems that he is trying to make a continuation of Clone Wars with season 2 of Ahsoka when he already made a continuation of Rebels with season 1.
Listen, I think Dave Filoni, in all honesty, I think he has the potential to be the future of Star Wars. I really do. He's not it right now, but I honestly think Dave Filoni has the potential to be the future of Star Wars. I think he has the potential to be a great live action director. I believe all of that. That being said, he will never reach that potential until he gets over his Ahsoka fetish. Everything he does completely revolves around Clone Wars and Ahsoka. Doing The Mandalorian? Let's put in Ahsoka. Granted, I loved Ahsoka in Mandalorian, so take that with a grain of salt. I thought it was great. But, and there's even whispers now. I saw a report, and it may not be true, which is why we're not making it a topic today, but I'm just saying as part of conversation. I saw this report that they're actually thinking about, you know what? They're going to take Mandalorian season 3, or 4, I should say, and make it a Mandalorian and Ahsoka series. Like, just why? Like, until Dave Filoni gets past trying to make fetch a thing and trying to make everybody love Clone Wars and everybody love Ahsoka, until he gets past that, he's never going to reach his potential. Because again, I believe wholeheartedly he has the potential to be the future of the franchise. But as long as he can't get his head out of his ass, and I say that with all love, until he gets past this whole fixation on everything being about trying to revive Clone Wars and Ahsoka, it's just not going to be able to do it. And he's not going to live up to his incredible potential. So, and we'll see how it all kind of works out. All right, what's next?
Barry is here and says the Daredevil trailer even hinted at the score from the Netflix series We're So Bad, Baby.
It's so good. It's so good. And again, listen, Daredevil and Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine.
That'd be good too.
That would be another good follow-up. Daredevil and Wolverine.
You know, I would love team up movies, team up one-offs, just like how they do in the comics.
I don't mind them at all. But I mean, Daredevil and Wolverine. God, I said it again. Deadpool and Wolverine was a much-needed, well-timed hit and win for Marvel. But we said long before Deadpool and Wolverine came out that we know it's going to be really good. We know it's going to be hit, but they also need to follow that up, right? It can't just be, we're kind of struggling right now. Okay, we had one great thing. They need to follow it up. They need to put together a winning streak. This could be it. This could be it. This Daredevil series could be it. If it fires on all cylinders like Deadpool and Wolverine did, if it lives up to the potential of this trailer, and that's a big if, I acknowledge that. But if it does, then Marvel's back, baby. Marvel is back. Now you're talking about a winning streak. Then Captain America comes out, and we'll see if that's good too. So actually, Captain America comes out before Daredevil.
Yes.
So, okay, listen. So if Cap 4 is good, and then they follow up with Daredevil, then I'm ready to say Marvel's back, baby. All right. Anyway, what's next?
Sam Fisher with a dark prediction for Born Again. I think Karen, Foggy, and maybe Bullseye are dead in the first episode by the hands of Muse.
Whoa.
I don't know about all three of them, and I don't think Bullseye.
That's where I got really excited about this series, is when they said Muse was going to be the antagonist. Because that story run it's dark, man.
Mm-hmm.
And Muse is a fascinating villain. The whole thing of, I'm an artist. You know, it's this villain is going to, if they do him justice, this villain is going to be so great. And I really don't think Foggy is long for this world. I mean, of all the clips and everything, that's only that one we see of Foggy, and we never see him again. I think he probably does get knocked off, which is unfortunate because I really like the character in the series. And I remember years ago, somebody brought up, what if they kill Foggy in the new Daredevil? And I said, no, they won't do that. Foggy's like his anchor to his humanity, right? So I said they won't do that. Looks like they're doing that. So yeah, oh, it makes you sad.
Yeah, I love Foggy.
Yeah, but that's what makes it impactful, right?
He's the Neil the baby of this show.
That's why
He kind of is.
That's what I'm going for.
But like that's why killing off characters we don't care about doesn't really have the impact.
That's fair.
Killing off a character we kill about, like for Sons of Anarchy, one of my top 3 all-time favorite TV shows, they killed off my favorite character. They killed my absolute favorite character in the show. And it only made me even more attached to the show. You'd think it would alienate me, but it actually just got me more attached to the show because it had such a powerful emotional impact on me that it got me even more dug into the show. So
that's fair.
Yeah, we'll see what they're able to do with
Still mad
it.
about Ben Urich being dead. Years later, I'm still like, why'd you kill him?
Still angry about that. All right, what's next?
Ryan Jacobs says, my thoughts on Cynthia Erivo's desire to play Storm. If Sadie Sink or her age group is cast as Jean Grey, the rest of the X-Men, her Storm could be a more wise guiding figure for the team.
Yeah.
I think it could work well. Also, her cheekbones say Storm to me.
Yeah, I mean,
fair.
again, you might have the
great
X-Men
cheekbones.
with an already elder statesman group, like what the X-Men became later on. So you could have Storm as a part of that more experienced group that has been around for a while. So you can say a couple of them are that. You could say Wolverine is that. You could say Storm is that. You could say whatever. So it is one approach they could do. If they're looking for a slightly older Storm, then, you know, the about to be Academy Award nominated actress Cynthia Erivo comes a pretty good choice. Not that I'm saying she's the one to play it. There's many other people who could play it, but I'm saying that would make her a viable choice at any rate. All right, what's next?
McNeil says, hey, John, I'm a big fan of the Moon Knight comics and show. Do you think there will be a season 2? I never hear any talk or rumors about it, but I want more after the reveal of Jake in the finale. If not, do you think he'll show up somewhere else later?
Not only do I not think there's going to be a season 2, I'm starting to doubt we're ever going to see the character again.
Yeah, it's a shame because I was so excited about it.
I ended up, Moon Knight for me was one of those shows where it came right down to the finale. And I remember before the finale came out, I said, this finale is going to determine whether it's a show I kind of liked or kind of didn't like. And it ended up being a show I kind of didn't like. Didn't hate it, and it definitely had some great episodes. But it ended up just kind of coming and going. Now, if you guys remember, about 6 months to a year after it came out, why am I forgetting the name of Oscar Isaac? Yeah. Oscar Isaac put out these pictures on social media of him and the Moon Knight director, like on location saying scouting for Moon Knight season 2 or something like that. I was like, oh, maybe there is going to be one. But since then, you know, Bob Iger's come back and said, we're going to cut back on the amount of stuff that we pump out on Disney Plus. And let's face it, Moon Knight wasn't one of their big winners. So I do not believe we're going to get a Moon Knight season 2. Not that I have any insider information. They very well could. You're asking me what I think, and I don't think they're going to do a season 2. But it's moved beyond that. I'm actually starting to think we're not going to see the character again, other than maybe in animated form. Mm-hmm. But I don't think we're going to see him live action again. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. Do you got a thought on that?
No. I want to see him again, but I just don't know where he fits into everything right now.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things. And that's what I think they're working on for this next phase, if you will, of getting all the pieces to come together again instead of the spaghetti at the wall we were kind of seeing.
All right. What's next?
Celine Espinoza says, I don't get how Amelia Perez is getting so much nominations above Dune 2. It's one of the worst movies ever made. It's full of harmful stereotypes of Mexico and is problematic about trans people. This movie is the new Crash.
Oh, what a
First of all,
comparison.
I was not big on Crash.
First of all, I love Crash.
I was not big on. I felt
Yeah.
it didn't deserve the win over what it.
Same.
I know a lot of people consider it to be like the worst Best Picture movie ever.
Yeah.
Like that and
And-
Green Book, where I'm like, okay.
I love Green Book too. But anyway, like Crash, I have no problem with the idea that maybe it shouldn't have won Best Picture, but I did like the movie. I am also a little bit in the fog about why Amelia Perez is getting all the attention it's getting.
I still haven't watched it. I need to sit down and watch that one.
I was late to the party on it and was so excited. Like that and Honora are two films that I kind of watched back to back because I was late to both of them. loved Denora.
And
Loved Denora.
I've been hesitant on that, but then everyone's saying it's great.
It's
so I'm like,
great.
okay.
It's kind of a hidden class system kind of movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought it was wonderful. I do not understand all the love Amelia Perez is getting. Like, yeah, it comes down to this. Your movie can be about important things, but that doesn't mean you did it well. And yeah, they got a really kind of a number of like important issues in Amelia Perez, but they don't do them well. And as a musical, I didn't think it worked. I like, let me be clear. I did not hate the movie. I disagree with you. I do not think it's one of the worst films ever made, but I just don't think it's that good. And so but you know what? Every year there's a movie that everybody loves that all of us don't like, right? You watching this right now, you have a movie that in the last year or two, everybody loved that you didn't. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you're wrong. That doesn't mean they're wrong. It's just different tastes. So I'm cool that other people seem to love Amelia Perez. I just watched it and was like, this is the movie getting all this buzz? Really? Anyway, that was just me.
That's how I felt when I watched La La Land.
You know, there are a number of people that I was lucky that I fell on the other side, that I was like, oh, I see what the hype is about. And I really did. I didn't think it should have won Best Picture, and it didn't.
Oh, it didn't.
Yeah, as it turns out, it didn't. But I mean, yeah, we all have those movies, right? And
Everyone always thinks
Amelia
I'm so crazy
Perez,
for not liking it.
I would be very fascinated to hear your impressions of Amelia Perez.
I'll have to watch that tomorrow.
Yeah,
then.
I just didn't think it was all that good.
Come in Friday with a full report.
All right. What's next?
Anonymous Food says, I'm such a good navigator. A self-driving car once asked me for directions. Moving on, Suthia says, if you are a fan of Star Talk, Dr. Neil Tyson and or Lawrence Fishburne, then the recent episode is for you. Very fun, somewhat deep conversation where they talk about his movie catalog and about the science and religious ideology behind The Matrix.
Oh, fun.
Here's why I love Dr. Tyson. It's not because he's so smart. There are other really smart people. There are smarter people out there than him. But he is a great combination of smart and being an insanely effective communicator. Like that's the thing. It's great to be smart, but if you can't articulate it and effectively communicate, then it's kind of rendered neutral, right? He is so smart, but also such a great communicator in the way he breaks down information and then conveys the information. He's really great that way. By the way, talking about I had to throw this in there, the self-driving car thing. Because one of our friends just bought a Tesla on our referral and they put us down as their referral, we got like a $2,000 credit or so, or like $2,000, $5,000. I can't remember. This big credit. It was $2,000. And so we got a Tesla credit. So we decided to get the full self-driving. Like all Teslas have autopilot, and I love autopilot in Tesla. But we decided to get the full self-driving.
Now you're hooked.
Holy shit. It's kind of like living in the future.
I don't know, man. I'm a really bad driver, self-described. And every time I'm behind a Tesla, I have not driven behind you, John. But every time I'm behind a Tesla, I'm just like, is the car that bad or is it you?
Oh, it's probably the driver.
Them.
It's
They have the fastest car on the highway and they drive like 40 miles an hour.
Don't be in the left lane. You don't have left lane energy. Get out of my way.
You got 1,000 horsepower, man. Use it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean I gotta say that is one of the things I love about that car.
Yeah.
Is you touch the pedal. Have you seen some of those videos where it's like people in a Tesla
Oh, it throws them back.
beating these $150,000 street racing cars?
Yeah.
Just because it can go to like 0 to 60 in like 2 point something seconds.
Damn.
It's crazy. Anyway, all right. What's next?
Mr. I says, hey, John, just heads up, but only Stephen McFeely is returning to Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Christopher Marcus is too busy with his studio AGBO or Agbo to spare the time for the Avengers movies.
Oh, I thought Marcus was doing it as well.
No, it's only Steve. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Well, by the way, Studio Agbo, that is also owned by the Russo brothers. So I guess the Russo brothers have him working on one thing while McFeely is working on something else. That makes I didn't know that. I was under the assumption that both of them were working on it together. Either way, it's still the same guy, so that's all right. All right, but thanks for the information on that. I appreciate that. What's next?
I Am Justice writes, just caught up on the current news and saw that Tom Cruise was honored by the U.S. Navy for boosting the military with his movie roles. Thoughts on this?
Good for him.
Yeah. It's another win for Tom.
No, he doesn't deserve it. I mean, he definitely does that. He definitely
Coconut cake for
elevates. Yeah, I mean, so yay, good for Tom.
Yeah.
All right,
Send us that cake, Tom.
Yes, please.
The Brutalista says, hello, everyone. I think Marvel should move ahead with a Midnight Suns project. It's the perfect way to tie in Clea and everything from Multiverse of Madness, as well as introducing the mystic side of Marvel and even X-Men. Sterling K. Brown as Brother Voodoo, just a thought.
Sterling K. Brown's already been in the MCU, so you can't use him for that.
So had Alfre Woodard, though.
What's that?
Alfre Woodard had been in the DCU or the Marvel universe.
But it
as
was
TV versus movies.
it was such a cameo too.
Okay.
But you're right. But Sterling K. Brown had not a lot of screen time, but a very important role. And so
Sure.
I don't know if they could do that. Here's my thing whenever somebody brings that up. I don't know that it's going to appeal to the broader audience. I really don't. I think you do that. I think that collection will appeal to some of the hardcore nerds, probably a lot of the hardcore nerds. But again, as we talk about on the show a lot, the hardcore nerds make up less than 5% of the movie-going audience. And I just don't know. I'm not saying it couldn't. I'm saying I just don't know that would appeal to the wider audience. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, nobody knew them. But they would appeal to the wider audience. You could see how that would appeal to the wider audience. I just don't know that particular group would. Somebody's saying do it as a small budget then. Can you do it as a small budget? I'm not sure. Again, especially with Disney saying they're going to do less stuff and try to increase the quality, I don't know if there's room for that. But hey, they could announce it tomorrow. They absolutely could announce it tomorrow. Do you think that's something that they could win an audience over on, Chris?
I feel like I don't know. There's already so many issues.
You know who's a part of Midnight Suns?
Who?
Blade.
Whoa.
Who also has been in,
Hey, maybe that's the way to bring
Let's
Blade in
greenlight this
finally.
movie.
I mean, Midnight Suns is a really cool idea, and I think it would be nice to tie in some of these, to borrow a term of yours, member berries who've been thrown at us in post-credit scenes to make it all make sense. But, well, maybe with the popularity of Agatha, too.
Yeah.
You could do it. Probably do it. But yeah, doing it low budget, I don't see why you...
No.
But Agatha was popular on a Disney Plus level.
Yeah.
I mean, would it go beyond that? Oh, by the way, speaking of like all that and Blade and all kinds of stuff, just want to remind everybody that the Blade announcement was 3 years old when James Gunn announced they were doing a Supergirl movie, and that Supergirl movie is now in production. Just throwing that out there. Just a reminder to everybody. Little PSA for everyone. All right, what's next?
Tom Weisenberg says, with the story rumors, I feel like Filoni is trying to make The Mandalorian and Grogu a do-over of the Clone Wars movie. A really weird decision if true. Poetic in terms of second chances, maybe, but I'm not excited.
I just don't know. I really like The Mandalorian. Didn't love season 3, granted, but I love The Mandalorian. I've had some misgivings about this Mandalorian thing ever since they announced it. Because really, you're good. We haven't had a movie in 6 years now. And what you're going to do is just bringing one of the TV shows to the screen? Really? That's what we're doing? We haven't had a new movie in that long? And again, I say this to somebody, you guys who watch the show, you know I love The Mandalorian. And then when they announced that they're revisiting the Little Stinky storyline, only now Little Stinky's grown up. But again, the bounty hunter's after them. The hero's got to save them from the... We're doing that again? And again, maybe that's not the story. Maybe it'll be a little bit different. So again, there's a lot of assumptions we're making here that could be completely wrong. Okay. But every time I feel myself getting kind of excited for a Mandalorian movie, it kind of like a leak in the pipes. The water pressure of my excitement just drops. Once I really start thinking about it. Now, I'm sure once a full trailer drops, we'll go, woohoo! And maybe that will reignite the excitement. But I have to admit, I am finding it a little hard getting amped up and excited for this movie. And what you just said is one of the reasons why. Come on, James Mangold. Come on, James Mangold. Make that old Republic era thing. Make it good.
I feel like this has the potential to do like a solo box office. So like, which was
Ugh.
392, pushing
Yeah.
400. That's honestly.
All right, what's next?
All right, we got our members here. Mighty Tank says, just thinking top 5 marketing campaigns of all time would be a good idea for a show topic. Well, Deadpool definitely comes to mind. I'm pretty sure we've done something like that on the show.
I'm not 100% sure that we have. Maybe worst marketing campaigns of all time?
Maybe.
I mean, that's easy. You're talking about Edge of Tomorrow, talking about John Carter.
John Carter for sure.
Things like that. Best marketing campaigns. Yeah,
Something to
that's
think
hard
about.
that's hard to quantify though,
Yeah.
right? It's a neat idea, but I would literally have to spend a month just researching that because it's not unlike, you can recall the movies easily. I don't really recall the marketing campaigns all that well. But anyway. All right, what's next?
We got Amin who says BAFTA thoughts. So happy Denis got in. I mean, at least the Brits know real excellence. Also, I haven't seen Queer, but surprised Daniel Craig didn't get a nom. No Dune for Best Adapted. Very surprising.
I don't follow the BAFTAs, to be honest with you. I follow when the winners are announced. I don't generally follow the nominations. Did those come out today or yesterday or
Maybe
something
so.
for BAFTA?
I believe they came out today.
Okay, so I probably
at least
didn't see it. So
Conclave got, I think, like 12 nominations. Conclave seems to be the one that's getting a lot of.
God, I love Conclave. That's such a good movie. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Forever Blue says, what do you think about the movie Short Circuit with the Goots? Hey, shout out to Steve Guttenberg, who is freaking helping the people move their cars during the fire.
Yes.
Like he gets a grade A.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's one of my comfort movies growing up. Johnny Five Alive. Matter of fact, this is what you want to know what I think about it? Whenever I would have a character and you have to put your name in it, it's Johnny Five.
Aw.
That's what I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, who didn't love Short Circuit growing up?
Super fun.
It was, by the way, I can't remember if I told the story. Steve Guttenberg. My first date that I went on once I got to LA. I think it was my first date. Might not have been. I think it was my first date. Anyway, I got invited to a screening of this little movie. I don't even remember what the movie was. It was a small little film. And I got invited to the Paramount lot, and I took this girl with me. And we ended up sitting beside Steve Guttenberg in the showing. And he was super nice to my date, to the part that I started wondering, is Steve Guttenberg macking on my date? Like, I wasn't sure, but he was super nice. Like, he was super, super nice. Anyway, that's my little Steve Guttenberg story of the day. All right, what's next?
Hey, Laser Lips, your mama was a snowblower. I missed
Really? That's intriguing.
I got one more from Tom that just popped in. With the story rumors, it feels like Filoni is trying to make Mandalorian go... sorry, this one here. My favorite superheroes are Superman and Fantastic Four. Absolutely can't wait for July. The fact that later in the month I'll be able to do a double feature of the movie theater blows my mind.
I mean, listen,
If they're good, this can be great.
We did our most anticipated movies of the year list, and there's a lot of big time movies that I got circled on my calendar for this year. I think this is going to be a very, very fun year, and Superman and Fantastic Four are just two of the reasons why. All right, what's next?
We got MM Talks who says, what's up, crew? With Cynthia Erivo showing her interest in playing Storm, who would be on your short list of actresses that could bring Storm to life in the MCU, depending on the age? I have DeWanda Wise on top of my list. It's just so hard because we don't know what they're going for.
Yeah, it's hard to know what they're going for. And like, again, I don't take X actor and X role questions because like I'd want to sit down and actually think about it.
Yeah, we got to like analyze that.
Like, we did the Black Panther the other day, but I was able to sit down and think about that the night before and come up with a list and stuff like that. Other than that, I like any actress who is a talented actress that looks like they might fit the role.
Yeah.
And so it could be a list of 40 or 50 names. All right, what's next?
King Daddy Goat says, hey, crew, I hope all is well. My grandmother, before she passed, was my movie buddy.
Nice.
And the craziest movie experience we ever had was looking at each other as soon as the mist ended.
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow. Our faces red. Damn. Is there any experiences that stand out to you guys particularly? I think he means with like family.
Well, I mean, dozens and dozens and dozens of like, oh my God, experiences in movies. But let's just talk about that one for a second, The Mist. Our buddy Sam Witwer was in that movie, by the way.
I love The Mist.
And it was Thomas Jane that was the lead in it.
Yeah.
That was Thomas Jane who was the lead.
So.
That
Yes.
ending is one of the most devastating endings. It's not, I don't think The Mist is the best movie, but the ending of The Mist is one of the most emotionally devastating moments I had ever seen put to film. Like when you see who's coming through the mist at the end, you're like, oh my God. And it's like you just wanted to go out and smash your face into a glass window. Like, oh no. And it's like, holy crap, that ending is emotionally scarring. I couldn't tell you one line of dialogue from that movie, but I will never forget the ending of that movie. Did you ever see The Mist?
I did not.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was like a...
Watch the last 20 minutes. Just watch
Not the rest
last
of the
20
movie?
minutes. I mean, you can watch the whole movie.
Okay.
But if you're short on time,
Last
just
20
watch the
minutes?
last 20
Okay.
minutes.
I think you could get through that movie. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, as in horror-wise, no. It's just a really...
We're psychological.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I like that
it's
kind
more
of
about
stuff.
like what a community does, you know, in the when there's trouble outside or something like that.
They band together and nothing goes wrong?
No, you just get a sense of how different
Ray's
thoughts...
making it sound way more friendly than the movie is.
They're all
But,
very friendly.
but the ending is like one of the most, like I said, emotional gut punches I've ever seen in a film. All right. What's next?
All right, this is our last one from Vicog. Hey, John, I might have missed it, but did you ever finish Dune Prophecy? I know you were on the verge of tapping out. Overall, I thought it was good. They left it off in an interesting spot for season 2. Just needs tightening in the writing department.
It needs a lot of tightening. I think the mythology structure they have is really quite good. Like I love the idea of the sisterhood, its place in the Imperium, the whole thing going with the ghosts of the past and who's the ultimate enemy. I found it a dissatisfying end of the season, though, to be honest with you. Here's where I am with it. I am at a place where I was with, what was the name of the CW show with all the villains that made up a superhero team?
Legends of
Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow.
So they weren't all villains. You had Captain Cold in there, but I'm in the same place with this show that I was with Legends of Tomorrow. I'll hang in. Yeah. Okay. If they do a season 2, I'll watch a season 2, but I'm not excited about season 2. Like they need to really tighten up on the writing. I get a certain number of things they did really well, a couple of really interesting episodes, but overall could have and should have been done a lot better. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show a part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number 1, because it gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported our channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Hey guys, don't forget to come on back and join us again tomorrow. We'll look forward to seeing you there. I want to thank the people in the room with me, Ray Ora,
See you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico,
All right, guys, see you later.
the delightful Chris Carr.
Bye, y'all.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.